Hey there, so today we have another review. This is a beer courtesy of Jeff. Thank you so much. This is a fun one. This is from Evergreen out of Pennsylvania. This contains lactose. This is Sorbetto 66. Sour ale. Now listen here. White chocolate pumpkin coffee. Pretty interesting. Generally not flavors you would combine in a sour beer. I think anybody guessing would have guessed porter, stout, blah, blah, blah. I'm very curious how it turns out, because this sort of reminds me of the stuff that Hudson Valley would do. I mean, granted, this is probably a little bit quote-unquote basic in flavors, but they use some interesting ingredients. And they call it sour IPA. This is more probably like smoothie sour versus, I don't know, we could do a whole video about like sour IPA, Hudson Valley. I don't know, like, I don't really know like how to find that, but yeah. So this looks like a smoothie sour. I mean, like, you basically have like no head formation. You can sort of see like the beer fighting, the carbonation fighting to get to the top of the glass. I assume there's a lot of pumpkin puree. Is there, like, that's scary. Like, if I wanted to make a sour beer with a bunch of flavors and like smoothie it, like it'd be mango puree, raspberry puree, right? Like pumpkin, like that much pumpkin. Like I'm just curious what is in here that's making the beer so thick. I don't know, who knows. Beer comes in like that Halloween orange. Let's get the nose. Yeah, for sure. Smells like a little bit like pumpkin pie. A little bit like just unspiced pumpkin, because like they don't list spices in here. I don't necessarily smell like all the pie elements. It has a little bit that just cooked. Like, I mean, growing up, I would see cooked pumpkin. Pretty tasty stuff. Actually, really healthy, right? Almost like a sweet potato kind of texture to it and flavor profile. Reminds me a little bit of just like when you are making pumpkin pie, just crack a can of pumpkin puree. Has just a little bit of gourd flavor, but yeah. I think the coffee is actually doing a really good job in, like, I guess the coffee and chocolate, making it seem a little bit desserty. I'm trying to think of, not too coffee forward, but it has a little bit of that kind of like pumpkin spice latte kind of thing going on. A little bit of pumpkin pie, a little bit of like a pumpkin cake. Is that a thing? Like pumpkin cake? Yeah, I think so. A little like sort of like similar to carrot cake, something like that, but because there's a little bit like I think those either way still use like some kind of like ginger, cinnamon, blah blah. So cheers, brown sugar. Oh, interesting, huh? See, I don't know what I think about that. So the beer is certainly sour, and that doesn't play like extremely well with pumpkin. Pumpkin at its best is sweet. Even when it's not like turned into like the confectionery, like, you know, let's turn this into pie, cake, this and that, like latte, this. In general, if you roast pumpkin, it has a little bit of sweetness to it. It's not sour. So why these smoothie sours tend to work is that you get a sour beer to emphasize the acidity that's already in fruit. Fruits are sour. I mean, I guess pumpkin's a fruit. But we're talking about like mangoes, pineapples, raspberries, blackberries, blueberries, you know, like things that are actual fruits that, you know, sorry, they're all fruit, but like the things that we consider fruit, this that we eat, they have actually like a good solid acidity to them. And it, why a lot of these sour beers, smoothie sours, pastry sour, whatever, they work because, you know, you're playing acidity with fruit. Here you're playing pumpkin with acidity. And I don't know about you guys, but sour pumpkins, not a thing. There's a reason why we cook them, because raw pumpkin, you know, there's a reason why we use brown sugar, cinnamon, you know, like, honestly, the initial, the immediate initial flavor profile is acetaldehyde. This just tastes like acetaldehyde. Which, if you don't know, is a fermentation byproduct. It is considered an all flavor at certain thresholds. It is naturally part of fermentation. Now, actually, part of the process of you breaking down alcohol, and acetaldehyde is part of why, you know, myself and a lot of people get flushing and hangovers and this and that. But as a flavor compound, it has, at least for me, a very strong kind of just like pumpkin flesh, like raw pumpkin. And what you're doing here with acidity and pumpkin, it just tastes like raw pumpkin. Like you're very much throwing acetaldehyde flavor reminders into this beer. The beer, I don't really taste much coffee. White chocolate is really just like like milk, fat, and vanilla, right? Like there's no chocolate in milk chocolate, or sorry, there's no chocolate in white chocolate. It's just a, it's like blue raspberry. What the hell is a blue raspberry? Chocolate's dark. Chocolate's gonna be brown to black, right? Like there's such thing as white chocolate. It's just a creation made by large food corporations. Same with blue raspberry or Flavor Labs or whatever. It's honestly not bad, and it smelled a lot more inviting and interesting. But here, there's not enough other ingredients in there to make this more complex, and it really just tastes like sour pumpkin puree. It's very vegetal. It just has reminders of like vegetable juice, and I consider myself as somebody that like has a pretty diverse palate. Like I like most to almost all things. Things I don't like, green juice. Like throw a bunch of spinach and this and I mean, granted, sometimes they add fruit and other things to make it tasty, but like I've had grass juice before. Just straight like spinach and celery and throw that all in there and just drink vegetables as a juice. I'd rather eat it or cook with it. Here, it's sort of like, hey, let's just like not even cook the pumpkin. Just throw a bunch of pumpkin in a blender and make a smoothie out of it, right? Like, I will say it's not like nasty, disgusting, but yeah, I don't see a reason. Like, you don't get the white chocolate, you don't really get the coffee, maybe a little bit of roast on the back end, but it really has just a sour. Like again, most of this beer, just the word sour, like you guys know that, and pumpkin, and rating. I mean, it's not a terrible beer. It's just like the flavors just don't make sense. Like they just it honestly could be a lot worse. So let's go see. 76. That is Sorbetto 66. What a fun beer. Just not very tasty. Cheers. Well, it's objective. Like it's actually a fine beer. Like I think a lot of people would be like, okay, I can get past that. For me, I'm trying to just tell you what I think, and like I'm not gonna drink this. Like I don't know what to tell you. It's a 76. Like it just smells pretty good. I like the acidity to it. It's not necessarily disgusting, right? Like there's beers where like, oh wow, this does not taste right, or this they really screw the pooch, as they call it sometimes. No, it's just I don't think the flavors work, and I think that I think a lot of people too, not just myself. I just think it tastes like sour pumpkins, and that's not tasty to me. So until next time, cheers. 76 later.